Good morning, everyone. Namaste. It is March 29th already, and check out this awesome t-shirt that I got, Let Love Rule. I picked this up about, I don't know, I picked this up, about a week ago from Brother Lenny Kravitz. So shout out to Lenny, Let Love Rule. Absolutely. So this is apropos for today. Today, we're still on the universal form. We're going to be doing text 45 and we're going to do text 46. But before we get into that, you all know that there was a full moon. There was a big old beautiful full moon this weekend. It hit its height yesterday. And the name of this full moon, well, let me put it this way. This full moon has a particular significance in bhakti yoga, specifically in the line of the Sri Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya, because we are following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I've mentioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before. He's also known as Gora, Gora Hari. Hari means he who takes away all miseries, and Gora means golden. So golden, the golden Lord, because he's known for his bodily beauty, his golden complexion, his mild manner, and his extremely powerful spiritual teachings. He is the Yuga avatar. Yuga means age, and the age that we are in is Kali, not to be confused with the goddess Kali. Kali as in the Iron Age, as in the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, and a lot of violence. There's a lot of violence in this age. So I really wanted to speak today about how to deal with this violence that just seems to be increasing more and more each day. What are we to do about that, right? It seems that when we fight fire with fire, or we just get more of the same, and people are feeling so helpless, and so many horrible things, have transpired in the past couple of weeks. Every day, there are innocent people being gunned down, and so many other things, you know. So the full moon that occurs yesterday is falls on the annual appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Yuga avatar, who inaugurated the Yuga Dharma. In other words, the medicine for this age. So every age comes with a particular set of circumstances. It comes with a particular climate, as it were, a particular atmosphere. Uh, and the atmosphere, once again, in Kali Yuga, is one of poverty, not only material poverty. Most people are living in poverty. It comes in an atmosphere of spiritual poverty. And so to ameliorate this situation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just freely gives out the highest level of self-realization simply by giving us the Sankirtana movement, simply by the method of singing the holy name, singing the Maha mantra. Mantra, again, this is Mantra Monday. So mantra literally means to free the mind. But to free the mind of what? It's to free the mind of the material shackles, right? Of all the conceptions that we have, this kind of overlay. uh, if you're into gaming and so forth, they're always talking about overlays, that you can put on your screen, right, to cover things over. So we are all suffering with a kind of an overlay, a false identification with this material body. We really have forgotten, by and large, who we really are underneath this temporary material designation. And it causes a lot of pain and suffering. It causes us a lot of pain and suffering individually. We don't think we're good enough, whoever we are. I mean, I would say that pretty much everyone, regardless of their color of their skin, their social class, their sex, their position in life, doesn't think they're good enough. And this is a big problem, very big problem, because you take things out on yourself and you take things out on other people and you take things out on the community in which you're in. And so, what is the solution to all of this? I've been thinking a lot about how we keep engaging, in the same discussions over and over and over again, and we really don't make any progress forward. We don't seem to make any progress forward. It's more like a pendulum swing from one extreme to the other, right? But nothing actually ever improves, really, in a lasting way. That has to do with the fact that, true, the nature of the material world is that it is ever changing. Circumstances are ever changing, even if we don't want them to. But deeper than that, it really has to do with the state of the heart, because we have not collectively and even individually really drilled down into the state of our hearts and the inner workings. And I certainly am not going to sit up here and say that I have dealt with all the inner workings of my heart. I have not. However, I know what the medicine is, and the medicine needs to be taken, shravanam kirtanam. So I want to get back to this violence, this uptick in violence that we have been experiencing, it seems steadily, for the past 4 years, now going into the 5th year. Of course, a lot of these things were always happening, and now it's uncovered. But does that mean that we should ignore it or just accept it as being normal? No, we shouldn't accept it as being normal. So, what is the prescription? The prescription is the Sankirtan movement. I found this verse today. This is from the Sri Shikshastika. This is one of the 8 verses that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left. He was a great scholar and saint, but he personally didn't write any books. But this is considered to be his core teachings. So this transcendental sound vibration is as such. Cheto darpana marjanam, bhava, bhava. Let me put on my glasses for this. Okay. Cheto darpana marjanam, bhava, bhava, mahadavagni nirvapanar. Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam, vidya vadu jivanam, anandam buddhi vardhanam, pratipadam, purnam, dṛṣṭvā sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glories to the Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. And then it goes on. Namna makari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatra pita niyamita smarane nakaraha, etadrishitava kripa bhagavan mamapi, durdaivam idrisham ihajani nanuragaha. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names. Like Krishna and Govinda, in these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are no even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. So this is summing up what the medicine is, how powerful it is, and also how lazy we are, right? How how disconnected, how far away, we are from ourselves. We have this very easy process and medicine that is available to us, and we need to take advantage of it. We long to be together. We long to share in a musical community, right? We love singing. We love dancing. We love having a good time with our friends. We love to party. We love that. And here is a way in which we can do all of those things, but not only enjoy with our friends, right, and enjoy ourselves, we can literally change the vibration on this planet. We can literally make a shift and purify the atmosphere on this planet, because saying the name is literally calling the Lord down, inviting the Lord to be amongst us, to make him, her visible to our hearts. There is no difference between the name and the Lord himself. Now, one who realizes this has attained the state of bhava. This is actually, how shall I say, it is actually, yeah, it is actually an attainable state in the execution of sadhana bhakti, in the process of bhakti yoga, bhava. And once you attain bhava, the next stage of that is is pure love of God. And this is what Lord Chaitanya has come to give us. So you can see how beautiful this interlapping is that this need to be together, God understands that, bring us together through song, bring us together through dance, through this glorification of this transcendental sound vibration where the Lord is literally dancing on our tongues. And in this way, also spread the love, right? In this way, we can let love rule because we are surely in need of that. Now, you are probably saying to yourself, well, how the hell is that going to work? How does that work? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. But I say, what have we got to lose? We've tried everything else. You can pass all the laws you want. But if people actually have not had a change of heart, if they actually do not see, uh, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the Brahmin, the outcast, the dog eater, the cow, the dog, pebbles, stones, gold, everything being equal on the spiritual platform, then you're always going to have this violence. You're always going to have this disparity because there's a disparity that exists within the eyes of the beholder, and the vision is manifest from the inside out, not the outside in. There's great variety in the world, and that variety exists because there are different functions, different tasks, different things that need to be accomplished in our day-to-day lives, individually and communally. And there's nothing wrong with that. So here's an example of mitigating violence through the sound of the holy name. There was someone that I knew. I believe that his name previous to taking initiation was Larry. I believe his name was Larry. This was back in Philadelphia. Uh, After he went through his transformation, he had another name. He was given the name Lolium, which means eager. It actually means transcendental greed, transcendental greed to serve. But the devotees, the bhaktas, used to go out. You've probably seen the devotees chanting on a street corner, or you've seen them in the airport, right? You've seen these people who just seem to be crazy, standing in robes with shaven heads, chanting, with abandon. Maybe not even singing very well, but they don't seem to care. So the devotees used to chant up and down this very busy thoroughfare called South Street, right? Very busy, especially on a Saturday night. Everyone's out there looking for a good time, going shopping, going in and out of restaurants, taking a stroll, maybe hitting the club and all of that. So it's very crowded. So the devotees would go out there and chant. And Larry, when he would see them, he would just become enraged. He would just become so belligerent that he would yell at the devotees. He would try to physically attack the devotees. He would throw things at them. And the devotees, they just tolerated it. They just tolerated it. They just kept moving. And week after week, they'd keep going out and chanting. And every week, Larry would be there, ready to hurl an insult or throw a bottle or, just try to start a scuffle. Didn't have any effect. The devotees just kept chanting, right? That's what the chanting does for you. The chanting really puts you in a state of peace. It really, really does. And it gives you a level of detachment. So finally, after I think months of this went on for months. This could have even gone, try and remember what Larry told me. I think he told me that this went on for like a year, maybe even 2 years. One time he found himself chanting. He started chanting with the devotees, right? He might have even been chanting, mocking them, but still he was chanting. So chanting, when it's done offenselessly, in other words, when it's not done for any motivation, it's very, very powerful. You actually make a lot of spiritual advancement when you can just chant and hear, just chant and hear. So what ended up happening, I bet you can guess. He became a devotee. He eventually just lost his feelings of animosity and he ended up running the kitchen, the deity kitchen in Philadelphia. And that kitchen, I had never seen a kitchen so clean. It was absolutely spotless. It was shimmering. I mean, it just like an altar. The walls were spotless. It was one of those tile walls, not a piece of mold to be found. The floor was so clean you could eat off the floor. Every surface was clean. And so this was a reflection of his state of heart, right? Because the environment that we live in, it's but a looking glass. Environment is but a looking glass. So that's just one example of a violent, belligerent character who eventually became transformed simply by hearing the sound vibration of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is why I'm coming up here on Mantra Monday every week for, it's been like 2 years now. This is why. Because I know this to be a scientific process that actually works. This isn't just some sentimentality on my part. Another example, we're going to go back in time. Uh, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in Mayapur. He was born in Nadia, and he was born just after sunset on the evening of the 23rd Falgun in 1407. Shak Shakabada. No, Shakabda. Okay, so this is the corresponding to the 18th of February, 1486 in the Western world of the Christian era, right? The calendars are a little bit different. We go by a solar calendar. They go by a lunar calendar, just the way we calculate Easter, right? That's our similarity. Easter is always calculated by the moon, right? The resurrection is calculated by the moon, not by the sun. That's why Easter changes a little bit every year. So, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grew, right, and he became a teacher eventually of Sanskrit grammar, instructing his students in the center of learning during that time in Navadvip. Eventually, he realized that he wasn't able to be as effective as he could be if he became renounced. So he became renounced. He gave up his family life. He took sannyas at the age of 24. And he and his brother Nityananda Prabhu, his divine companion, who some of you may recognize as Lakshman uh, in the Leela of Ramachandra, they just went out and canvassed, to try and get people. They personally went out and would canvass to try and get people to participate in the Sankirtana movement. Sankirtan, singing together. Sangha means association. So one day, Nityananda went to a very, very dicey part of town where Jagai and Madai hung out. These two, they were basically gang leaders. That's what they were. They were thieves, right? They were dacoits, they were rapists, and they just held court, on the street corner. Everyone was afraid of them. If they weren't afraid of them, then they were in the gang. So Nityananda thought, I want to approach these two. If I can make these two turn them into devotees, if I can take these rough and tumble and violent people and transform them, transform their hearts, this will be very, very pleasing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because these two are typical of this time that we live in, right? So I think that this is a very, very significant point. This is a very, very significant point. Society needs to be transformed, from the bottom up, or even from the top up, from the top down, but it needs to be transformed. So it's not as if we're trying to skip over those people who may be difficult. The people that are difficult is the average person. We are difficult. That is the average person. So Nityananda approached them and humbly asked them to please chant. And in response, he picked up a clay pot, a shard, right? Because in those days, I think probably still if you go to India, things are served in clay pots. And after you eat out of it, you just break it. You find a lot of shards on the street. Picked up the shard, aimed it with all their force at Nityananda's forehead. Big bloody gash, cut him in the forehead. Nityananda wasn't disturbed, he wasn't disturbed by that, but that's what happened. Word got back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what happened, right? News travels fast. And Chaitanya, who was on the other side of town, to say that he was angry is an understatement. He was transcendently angry and flew like fire over to where Nityananda Prabhu was and immediately manifested his Sudarshan chakra, right? So with this manifestation of his Sudarshan chakra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually revealing who he really is. So Lord Vishnu, right? Krishna, then there's Lord Vishnu, right? And Lord Vishnu carries out the function of maintaining the universe. And maintaining the universe falls into two categories. It falls into chastising the miscreants, right? The troublemakers, those who just won't let anyone else be peaceful, right? Can get very out of hand, going through something like that now. And it also consists of blessing by the lotus flower and the conch shell. But in this case, Lord Chaitanya manifested his paraphernalia of the Sudarshan chakra and prepared basically to cut off their heads, off with their heads. So, of course, to be killed by one of the transcendental weapons of the Lord is a benediction. You know, you get liberated. When they saw this, they realized that they were not dealing with your average bear. Nityananda, who is Patita Pavana, right? Friend of the poor, friend of the most fallen. And we certainly are living in a state of poverty here, now, here and now. He raised his hand and he said, no, no, my lord, no, don't do that. If you kill them, if you kill Jagai and Madai, the entire purpose for our mission here will be finished, will be defeated, because these two are exactly representative of the average person in Kali Yuga. These two are exactly the people, the type of personalities that we came to save, that we came to transform, that we came to turn into bhaktas. So please don't do it. So, of course, Chaitanya, Krishna, he is controlled by his devotee, right? He is controlled by the bhaktas. So he withdrew. Needless to say, Jagai and Madai, they threw themselves down, they paid their obeisances, their dandavats, they asked for forgiveness, and they had a transformative experience and became bhaktas. Now, of course, maybe for those two, because they were violent individuals, that was something that they were allowed to see, right? Everything happens for a reason in the Lord's Leela. Everything happens for a reason. Violence was the thing that really the only thing that they understood. So they were allowed to see that, but were spared, just enough to kind of scare the doties off of them. So this is what I'm trying to get across to you, my dear subscribers to this channel, is that we have a lot of power at our disposal that we are simply not using. And that is because we are conditioned. We are conditioned souls. And, we have been trained to think that, if we just use logic and reason, that we can change things. And logic and reason certainly have a place. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was a scholar. He knew all about logic and reason, but we need to go deeper. We need to go beyond, because it's not enough. It's simply not enough. You can spout that stuff all day long, and it's not going to change someone's heart. And because we are in a crisis situation, we are in an emergency situation, we need to change it up. So that's a little glimpse into the significance of Gaur Purnima, which was yesterday. Which occurred actually on Palm Sunday, March 28th of 2021. And Gaur Purnima always kind of interestingly falls around this time of year, with the overlaps of, Passover and Easter and Palm Sunday and all of these things. And I think there's a message there as well, let's get along. Let's get past these material designations and get along and get the help we need, because it's here available for us. Thank you for listening to that. My new album has a lot to do with this. Okay, now, Getting on to today's text, which you will see is in the description. Text 45 and text 46 of the Universal Form. Prince Arjuna is still addressing Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Sanskrit. adṛṣṭa-pūrvaṁ hṛṣito shmi dṛṣṭvā bhayena cha pravyathitam mano me tad eva me darśaya deva-rūpaṁ prasīda deveśa jagan-nivāsa. For the sake of time, I'm just going to get right into the word-for-word translation. adṛṣṭa-pūrvaṁ, never seen before. hṛṣitaḥ, gladdened. Asmi, I am. dṛṣṭvā, by seeing. bhayena, out of fear. Cha, also. pravyathitam, perturbed. Manaḥ, mind. Me, my. Tat, that. Eva, certainly. Me, unto me. darśaya, show. Deva, O Lord. rūpam, the form. prasīda, just be gracious. deva-īśa, O Lord of Lords. jagat-nivāsa, O refuge of the universe. Translation. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened. But at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. Purport. Arjuna is always in confidence with Krishna because he is a very dear friend. And as a dear friend is gladdened by his friend's opulence, Arjuna is very joyful to see that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and can show such a wonderful universal form. But at the same time, after seeing that universal form, he is afraid that he has committed so many offenses to Krishna out of his unalloyed friendship. Thus his mind is disturbed out of fear, although he had no reason to fear. Arjuna, therefore, is asking Krishna to show his Narayan form because he can assume any form. This universal form is material and temporary, as the material world is temporary. But in the Vaikuntha planets, he has his transcendental form with 4 hands as Narayan. There are innumerable planets in the spiritual sky, and in each of them, Krishna is present by his plenary manifestations of different names. Thus, Arjuna desired to see one of the forms manifest in the Vaikuntha planets. Of course, in each Vaikuntha planet, the form of Narayan is 4-handed, but the 4 hands hold different arrangements of symbols: the conch shell, mace, lotus, and disc. According to the different hands of these 4 things are held in, the Narayans are variously named. All of these forms are one with Krishna. Therefore, Arjuna requests to see his 4-handed feature. So basically, Arjuna is trying to take the temperature down. He's trying to take it down. So he's been seeing, again, this universal form where he's seeing all past, all present, all future, all the planetary systems, all the living entities, all the terrible features of the Lord also. Blazing fire. It's like 100,000 suns have risen all at the same time. It's blinding. He can barely see. He's been able to see his fate. He's been able to see the soldiers on the opposing side rushing into the mouths of this universal form, in other words, like moths to a flame towards death, and even his own soldiers and more. So it's very overwhelming. So now, after witnessing this for several minutes, he's done. He wants his old friend back. He wants to see his old friend back. And so he is asking the Lord to display his 4-handed form as Narayan. The Vaikuntha planets, Vaikuntha means place without fear. So there is no fear there. Okay, moving on to text 46. Hṛṣitinam gadinam chakra-hṛṣitam ichami tvam drashtu maham tataiva tanaiva rūpena chatur-bhujena sahasra-baho bhava vishva murte. Translation word for word. Hṛṣitinam with helmet, gadinam with club, chakra-hṛṣitam disc in hand, ichami I wish, tvam you, drashtum to see, aham I, deva-īśa in that position, deva-īśa in that, rūpena form, chatur-bhujena four-handed, sahasra-baho oh, thousand-handed one, bhava just become, vishvamurte, O universal form. Translation. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. In the Brahma Samhita, this is the purport, in the Brahma Samhita it is stated, Ramadi Murtishu Karaniyamena Tishtam. The Lord is eternally situated in hundreds and thousands of forms. And the main forms are those like Rama, Nrsimha, Narayan, etc. There are innumerable forms, but Arjuna knew that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, assuming his temporary universal form. He is now asking to see the form of Narayan, a spiritual form. This verse establishes without any doubt the statement of the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and all other features originate from him. He is not different from his plenary expansions, and he is God in any of his innumerable forms. In all of these forms, he is fresh like a young man. That is the constant feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who knows Krishna becomes free at once from all contamination of the material world. Okay, so that's it for today, really. I think that purport is fairly self-explanatory, and I've talked about it and mentioned it many, many times. Again, that Krishna appears to people according to time, place, and circumstance, and according to the desire, of the bhaktas. And so here, because again, Arjuna wanted to see Krishna's universal form, he manifested that universal form, right? What was the purpose of that? The purpose was to establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The purpose was to educate us and protect us from people who claim to be God, but cannot actually manifest a universal form. So this is setting the bar. But as we read this purport, we also see that the Lord manifests himself in a four-armed form, in the planets without fear. The spiritual world is vast, 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 and there's a lot of variety in it. And in the Vaikuntha planets, the devotees are very happily serving the Lord and Lakshmi Devi in that mood of awe and reverence. There is love there. There is great love and there's great respect there. There's no fear there, but the mood is a little bit more formal, right? That's the mood. And then pretty soon, Krishna, as soon as the next verse is going to explain why he has revealed himself in this way and is going to show himself to Arjuna, his friend, in his original two-handed form. So when we chant the Maha Mantra, we are interacting with this original form of the Lord. It is said, and we say it again and again, that man is made in God's image, and indeed we are. And so there you have it. Thank you very much for spending time with me today. Whether you're lurking and watching now, or whether you're going to watch this later, I really, really appreciate it. Um, there's a lot of good things that are coming up in 2021. Working on a new album. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram. You're going to look for at Kyanie _ musical _ yoga. That's my Instagram handle. There's going to be a birthday party that's coming up on Saturday, April 10th. I'm going to be holding a dance off. It's going to be fun. We need some fun. I know I need some fun. And I'm going to be unveiling a new version of my Like Fire cover spin. This is a new remix video that I'm going to be dropping for you. So there you have it. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Namaste.